Okay, welcome back viewers. My name is Zeeshan from ILM News, and today we're here with Councillor Jhangir Akhtar, who's the Deputy Leader of Rotherham Borough Council. Councillor Akhtar, welcome back to the ILM News interview of yours. Tell me a bit about politics. Before we went on break, you slightly touched upon politics and you talked about your mentor who actually really pushed you to get into politics. Why politics and why Labour?
Well, I think obviously it's a number of reasons, and the main reason obviously for us growing up in Rotherham, my father was in the steel industry. I grew up with all the friends and family who were working in the local steel industry, and I think it was just a natural progression. As I said, I was pretty active in the unions as well. I believe in social justice, so it was just a natural progression that I would actually pick the Labour Party because it has the ideals and the principles that we were certainly brought up with, even from Pakistan. Okay. That, you know, you look after yourself, and it had the greatest ethos of the party, aligned with my own thoughts and the cultural beginnings that I had as well. So this was the natural party for me to actually join.
Okay. So, but why politics? Labour, yeah, all unions, and you believe in equalities, but why Labour? Are there the other parties, Liberal Democrats, the third biggest party, Conservative? Do they not offer the same thing, or is this something that was close to your heart and you thought this is the party that represents huge Labour?
Absolutely, the foundations of the Labour Party were born out from the workers. It's an organisation that was actually born from the unions. Right. So we've got, you know, this proud history of 80-90 years of the Labour Party coming into being because it was there to actually represent the working class. So it aligned very much so with my own principles. Of course, that doesn't mean to say, you know, that other people are wrong to join any political party. I think certainly I think there needs to be a very good cross-reference representation in all the political parties. But for me, that is the party that most represents my own views. And I think one of the rationales of going into politics was actually seeing how you could actually make a difference to represent your community, because, you know, I think after a number of years being here, because a lot of people from the Pakistani diaspora community thought that they were going to go back to this place where their forefathers came from, and even myself. But I think over the years it became apparent, and it's apparent to a lot of people now, that this is their home, this is our home. And if this is our home, then we need to make sure that we are part of the very fabric of the society, and we need to be involved in all of the public organisations. And I think politics is one of the most important things that we need to be a part of, because if you want to make changes for the better for all the communities, and I think that's very important. I pride myself that in my own ward, 95% of my electorate are white indigenous. Only 5% are from the other communities, you know, whether it's primarily the Kashmiri community and all the, you know, we have a small number of Chinese and other small communities. But I represent, in my ward, I represent all my constituents, and also as the deputy leader, I'm the deputy leader of a council that's a population of 252,000 people. And I think that's evidence that, you know, when you are coming to politics, that you represent everybody. Absolutely. That's the most important fact. I mean, you can never take away the fact that I'm a Muslim. Yeah. You know, that's my identity, that's who I am, that's me. And the fact that I was born in Pakistan, I'm very proud of that. But I am equally proud to be a British citizen, and this is my home, and these are my people. And when I say my people, and I mean John as well as Mohammed and Peter and Jacob as well. These are my people, and I'm very proud to be given the chance to actually represent all of the people of Rotherham.
You mentioned that all the communities must take an active part into politics to be able to make any sort of difference or to get their voice heard. Is this what you always had in your mind, that you were going to join politics and you were going to represent the community, all the communities I speak of, and to tell those people?
Absolutely. I never saw any distinction. You know, it is very important that people differentiate things. It is fine for people to hold on to their culture, the best of the culture that they've come from, and fuse it with the best of what the Western culture gives us as well. And I think that's probably the perfect, you know, that's the perfect sort of panacea. Because when I came into politics, it wasn't just to represent one section of the community. It was to make sure that
that I represented everybody, because that way, because otherwise you are actually pigeonholed in the sections, and I don't think that's productive for the people that you represent. Now, if you get elected to a position, right, then you are honor bound to represent everybody, and then your work actually evidence that as well, that you are not. I look forward to the day in the very sort of near future, is that people are not defined by their colour or creed or religion. Of course we're defined by religion, because which is personal to us, that's the very being.
But people that, for example, that you would be known as Zeeshan, I would be known as Jhangir, not Jhangir from a BME community, or Zeeshan from a Pakistani community by your race. I mean, we have this in the Pakistani culture as well, you know, about brotherism. And I think that's the most divisive thing that we could have actually, that we've actually brought in from back home in Pakistan.
It's great that you mentioned that. I mean, I'd like to then ask you, what do you expect of young British, Pakistani, Muslims community? I mean, obviously we can't eliminate this fact that we're all Pakistani here, we're Muslims here, and obviously we've achieved a lot, we've come a far way. But what I'd like to, you know, to speak about is the young generation here. What message do you have for them, and what, as a deputy leader, and hopefully, inshallah, in the years coming as a leader of the Rotherham Borough Council, what do you expect of the community here, Pakistani, Asian, Pakistani?
Well, I think it's not any different for one community to the other community. I think it's a message to all of the young people, making sure that they actually raise their aspirations, that nothing is beyond them, but it all comes down to hard work and making sure that they interact on all levels. And it does not necessarily mean that they should all come into politics. Make sure, first of all, is the education, which is the foundation of any future, having respect for their neighbours, and making sure that this is I think one of the most fundamental issues that we have with the young British Muslims is that a sense of identity. They still seem to be think that they have an issue about it, even though they're the second and third and fourth generations now, right, of British Pakistanis, right? But they seem to hold on to some of the bad elements of our former culture, from our former native countries, and I think the youngsters need to move forward, and I think raise their aspirations that they can achieve things, but nobody's going to give it to them. And of course, we can't get away from the fact there is racism. Of course, we're a long way away from the days that I was at school, and it was a regular gauntlet of, we had to run a regular gauntlet of racism, whether it was from students and teachers. And we've gone through all the situations where the public bodies were institutionally racist, but we've made great strides.
It's changed a lot.
Absolutely, and I think now is a time for youngsters to get involved, whether in all sections of community life.
Right, okay. If you stay with us, we'll be right back just after the break, and we have a lot to hear from Councillor Jhangir Akhtar. Stay with us.